So what have you found that users are attracted to? Like what kind of features?
Yeah. So we found a huge jump when we added the social features.
Mm-hmm.
So we added things like the ability to tweet or post to Facebook right from the list. And we also added a list request feature where users can essentially ask their friend to make a list. So you would say, hey, I want you to make this list about like favorite restaurants in Raleigh because your friend knows food.
Mm-hmm.
It emails them and then they make the list automatically from there. And we saw probably a 50% jump in our traffic once we added those social features.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And that's called like organic, isn't that? Joe,
Yeah.
talking about
Yeah, organic growth. Exactly. And that's really just where you have your current users sort of marketing avelist for you. So they're growing the user base. For example, if they were to request a list from somebody, you can request that from someone who isn't already an avelist user.
Okay.
So when they make that list, they obviously become a user, and that's sort of how you naturally bring people in through a process that happens every day right now, where people ask their friends for advice, or they're visiting a city and say, "Hey, you've been there before. Where should I go?"
Yeah.
So that organic growth is really key, and it's really how to grow that user base by taking advantage of things that socially already happen.
What about going mobile? I know you guys have an app, but
Yeah.
how important do you think that is for like we talked a lot about like what where we think the future of social media is going.
We really think that going mobile is definitely a huge piece of kind of the future of social networks and the internet in general, and obviously with avelist. And we've especially seen that because a lot of times these lists, the idea is that people are sharing them, and that's how you're grabbing these new users and getting them to come in. But most people are using their phones for Twitter or Facebook or social media accounts. So we really think that's a big important piece to be mobile optimized, so people can get to those lists. And right now, I guess we have an iOS and Android mobile application. So anybody with those phones can use the mobile apps, and then down the road, kind of based on development priorities, we'll also be mobile optimizing. So if people are just using their web browser on their phone, and they don't have the app, they'll still be able to see everything clearly and cleanly.
Do you find users like the same thing on their phones as they would on their computers? Like the features sort of are the same, or?
That's a really interesting question. I think we found that we don't have the list request feature on the app yet, so there's some things where the app is slightly behind the website, but what we've really seen is that users use their phones a lot for things like to-do lists and grocery lists and the more just practical side of it. And obviously, we really hope that avelist will be useful kind of at all times as a place to find information, but on the web it's a little bit easier to sort of browse and do things like that, whereas people really use the mobile applications as like an on-the-go sort of, I have this list with me that I need when I'm in a store, when I'm shopping, and things like that. Yeah.
Awesome.